I wanted to talk about the judicial review of rulemaking or regulations in the state of California. Our government code in section 11350 provides that any interested person may obtain a judicial declaration regarding the validity of any regulation or an order of repeal by bringing an action for declaratory relief in a superior court in accordance with the sections of the Code of Civil Procedure. The right to a judicial determination is not affected by that interested person's failure to petition or to seek reconsideration of a petition that has been submitted to an agency that adopted the regulation or the order of repeal. The regulation or order of repeal may be declared to be invalid for a substantial failure to comply with California's Administrative Procedure Act, the APA, or in the case of an emergency regulation or an order of repeal, upon the ground that the facts recited in the finding of emergency do not constitute an actual emergency. A regulation may be declared invalid if either of the following circumstances exist. First, that the agency declaration is in conflict with the substantial evidence in the rulemaking record. The second basis is that the agency's determination that the regulation is reasonably necessary to effectuate the purpose of the statute, court decision, or other provision of law that's being implemented, interpreted, or made specific by the regulation is actually not supported by substantial evidence. In addition, the approval of a regulation or an order of repeal by the California Office of Administrative Law, the OAL, or in instances where the governor overrules a decision of the OAL disapproving a regulation or order of repeal, cannot be considered by a court in any action for declaratory relief brought with respect to a regulation or order of repeal. Finally, in a proceeding under this section of the government code, again, section 11350, a court may only consider the following four items of evidence: the rulemaking file, the whole file that was prepared by the adopting agency, the finding of emergency that was prepared by the adopting agency within emergency rulemaking, an item that's required to be included in the rulemaking file, but's not included in the rulemaking file, and for the purpose of proving its omission from the rulemaking file. And the fourth is any evidence that's relative to whether a regulation used by an agency is required to be adopted under the APA, i.e. determination of an underground regulation. Also be aware of Government Code Section 11350.3 that specifies that any interested person may obtain a judicial declaration regarding the validity of a regulation or order of repeal with the Office of Administrative Law in which they've disapproved it. And they can do so by bringing an action for declaratory relief in the Superior Court, also under this code section. And here, a court may declare the regulation to be valid if the court determines that the regulation meets the standards set forth in the Administrative Procedure Act and that the agency complied with the APA. And if the court determines that to be the case, then the court may order the Office of Administrative Law to immediately file the approved regulation with the California Secretary of State.